Good afternoon and very many thanks for joining us on NTA Nationwide this hour. My name is Ogechi Paul. And now details of the bulletin. President Muhammadu Buhari is leaving Abuja today for Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt, to participate in the Business for Africa, Egypt and the World Forum. The forum, which opened in the Egyptian resort town on Saturday, is being organized by the Egyptian government under the auspices of the African Union Commission. The forum's objective is to accelerate private sector engagement and investment within Africa and promote the development of African ties and partnerships. President Buhari, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi of Egypt, and the presidents of Togo, Sudan, Kenya, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, and the Prime Minister of Ethiopia are among confirmed speakers at the forum. Other confirmed speakers include the President of the African Development Union, our own Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, and the President CEO of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote. A statement by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, indicates that the President will be accompanied on the trip by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Geoffrey Onyama, and the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Okechukwu Inelama. He will return to Abuja at the end of the forum. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has called on traditional rulers in the country to raise a strong voice of condemnation against those who have stolen public funds and engaged in corruption capable of crippling the country. He made the call in a meeting with a group of traditional rulers and leaders from Remoland, Ogun State, who paid him a courteous visit. State House correspondent Jido Nifade has details.
As noted by the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, the kind of corruption the country experienced in the recent past is the kind that in any other part of the world would be considered a crime against humanity. He noted that the kind of corruption that has been observed in the country is one for which people should be ashamed. According to him, since traditional rulers do not belong to any political party and as leaders, this act should be condemned in strong terms by them. Vice President Osinbajo told the delegation led by the Akaribu of Remoland, Oba Michael Adeniyi Shunariwo, that the Buhari administration is fully committed to the anti-corruption crusade, and going forward, the determination of government is to ensure that people know that corruption has consequences, and both serving and those that have served would be held to account. He stated that the anti-corruption fight is hinged on transparency, and that government is trying to put in place a system that ensures that there is consequence for wrongdoings, so that the people being served, especially the very poor, are not treated like animals. Earlier in his remarks, the Akaribu of Remoland, Oba Michael Shunariwo, commended the government of President Muhammadu Buhari for its anti-corruption policies. Also, the Vice President met a delegation from the Nigerian Association for Energy Economics. He expressed that it is strategic for professionals as well as members of the energy economics to always join in the energy debate and render their expert advice to government, adding that President Buhari's administration is transparent and open, and thus would also make government to be accountable. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, will tomorrow, Saturday, conduct 22 court-ordered rural elections across 8 states of the Federation. Timothy Yusuf tells us more.
A breakdown of the Rerun elections by INEC indicates that the elections include 4 senatorial, 3 federal constituencies, and 15 state constituencies across Benue, Kaduna, Plateau, Niger, Nasarawa, Kogi, Taraba, and Imo states. Senatorial elections will be conducted in Benue South, Imo North, Kogi Central, and Kogi East. Federal constituency elections will hold in Okene-Ogori Magongo of Kogi State, Lafia Obi of Nasarawa State, and Krumi Sadauna of Taraba State. The 15 state constituency elections will be conducted across Imo, Kaduna, Kogi, Plateau, Niger, and Taraba states. The constituencies are Isiala-Mbano, Oru East, and Owerri West for Imo State. In Kaduna State, elections will hold in Lere West. For Kogi, it includes Ofu, Ankpa 1, Ida, Dikina 1 and Dikina 2. In Niger State, the election will hold only in Suleja. That of Plateau holds in Lantang South, Pangshin South and Pangshin North. In Taraba State, it will be in Ado, Kola and Mbamga. Meanwhile, INEC says preparations are in top gear to ensure a hitch-free mini-elections.
In Plateau State, there was a court order restraining the commission and insisting that a particular candidate should be included in the election, as a result of which the election for that particular constituency has been postponed. We have done the needful in terms of training the staff that we are deploying, in terms of engaging with the stakeholders involved in the elections. We have also publicized the elections as much as possible.
In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Ahead of Saturday's Rerun elections, members of the All Progressives Congress in Kogi East Senatorial Zone have resolved to work for the victory of the party. This resolution was reached after an emergency meeting of party leaders and executives in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf has that report.
It is indeed the first major meeting of the Kogi East chapter of the APC since the demise of their leader, Prince Abubakar Audu. Chairman of the party in the zone, Daniel Issa, says it was imperative to appraise the journey so far and strategize for the way forward.
It is a meeting of people that we know knows how to play the game best. It's a meeting of experienced politicians.
Speakers called for unity of purpose among party members in order to keep the hopes and aspirations of Prince Abubakar Audu alive. They resolved to abide by the rule of law in all their dealings. They had a solidarity session with the late Prince Abubakar Audu's running mate, James Abiodun Faleke. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Political parties have been advised to shun violence and hate speeches during campaigns ahead of the March 19 area council elections. FCC Resident Electoral Commissioner Professor Jacob Jato gave the advice at the formal presentation of the updated voter register to stakeholders in Abuja. Political correspondent Shuaibu Oneze Yakubu has details.
The formal presentation of the voter register is in compliance with Section 20 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended, which provides that the official register of voters for the election be published not later than 30 days before election. FCT INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner Professor Jacob Jatu says the updated register is a combination of those registered in 2011, 2014, 2016, and those who transferred their registration to FCT. He called on the political parties and their candidates to play the game according to the rules.
There have been some reports in the media of violence during campaigns, and the Commission is against violence of any kind. Election is not a war, but a contestation that normally will produce either winners or losers.
Mrs. Abimbola Oladunjoye from the INEC headquarters, who gave an overview on the newly published voter register, said the total eligible voters in the FCT is now 1,020,799. Representatives of all the political parties were handed over the soft copy of the updated voter register in the FCT. Meanwhile, the Commission has also published the list of nominated candidates for the forthcoming elections. In Abuja, Shuaibu Oneze Yakubu, NTA News.
Governor Darius Dixon Ishaku of Taraba State has extended his hand of fellowship to all Tarabans in his renewed efforts to take the state out of its socio-economic crisis. The governor, who made the appeal in Jalingo, the state capital, in the aftermath of his Supreme Court victory, said harnessing the rich resources of the state for the well-being of the people remains paramount and above political divides. Joseph Watson reports.
The judgment of the Supreme Court upholding the election of Governor Darius Dixon Ishaku as duly elected governor of Taraba State brought relief to his supporters. They turned out in their numbers, including women and children, at the Jalingo airport, while some positioned themselves along major roads of Jalingo, the state capital, to express joy as the governor returns from Abuja after the Supreme Court judgment. At the Joli Nyame Stadium, another large crowd deferred the hot sun to wait for the governor's arrival and address to the people. Governor Darius Dixon Ishaku thanked God for the mandate and described the Supreme Court judgment as a victory for democracy, justice and people of Taraba State. He called on all political opponents in the state to shield their swords and join hands with his administration to move the state forward.
Particularly, I wish to graciously invite my former opponent and all the other people in the opposition party to turn a new leaf and join me and the rescue team. To make Taraba great, to make Taraba an enviable place, and not a theater for war.
Other stakeholders in the state, such as Senator Bala Adamu, State PDP Chairman Victor Balakona, and other supporters were optimistic that the mandate affirmed by the Supreme Court would pave way for accelerated development.
We have had enough retrogressive activities. Time is now for making life better for the entire people of Taraba State.
In Jalingo, Joseph Oten, NTA News.
Well, it's now time to join our Lagos Networks Center. Lagos State Government summons contractors, and Vera Chimuba is going to give us an intel on this and more from that center. It's over to you, Vera.
Thank you, Ogechi, for joining us in Lagos, and a very warm welcome. The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has granted an order to Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to confiscate the assets of the former Niger Delta militant leader, Government Ekpemokpolo, otherwise known as Tompolo. The EFCC has sought an order authorizing it to attach property belonging to Tompolo by seizure pending his arrest or appearance in court. Justice Ibrahim Boba granted the order today at the Federal High Court. The property as listed by the EFCC and belonging to Tompolo include 1 Chief Agbamo Close, Warri Delta State, Merkel Dive Limited and Merkel Dive Training Institute at Ugbori Koko, and property of Global West Vest Specialist Limited. Others are Muhabix Global Services, a river crew change boat known as Tompolo Dockyard. The rest are diving school at Kuruti Escavos, River Tompolo House, as well as any other property EFCC discovers movable and immovable. EFCC counsel Festus Keyam have filed the application seeking for an order empowering EFCC to seize assets of the former militant leader. In his short ruling, Justice Ibrahim Boba, in granting the application sought by the EFCC counsel, that sections 80 and 81 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act empower the court to order for confiscation of the assets belonging to the accused, where the accused refuses to appear in court. Justice Ibrahim Boba had on January 14th ordered Tompolo's arrest and renewed the order on the 8th of February, while dismissing Tompolo's application seeking to quash the warrant of arrest. The EFCC, in a 40-count charge, said the 47-year-old former militant leader is wanted for conspiracy, illegal diversion of 34 billion and 11.9 billion naira belonging to Nimasa.
If an accused person continues to abscond from court and conceal himself from arrest after a warrant of arrest has been issued, the law provides that all his properties should be confiscated until he appears, and after 3 months, if he still does not.
Only qualified and duly registered structural engineers are allowed to practice structural engineering profession in Nigeria for safety, durability, and quality service delivery. This was the submission of speakers at the investiture of Oreoluwa Fadayomi as the president of Nigerian Institution of Structural Engineers in Lagos. While Yusuf Jibo reports.
The frequent occurrence of building collapse in Nigeria has become a major issue of concern to all Nigerians. This problem has been attributed to patronage of cheap labor, substandard building materials, as well as engagement of quacks. These issues were discussed at the investiture of the new president of the Institution of Structural Engineers.
Building collapses have been as a result of projects being designed by quacks, by people who are not qualified.
A lot of quacks are out there pretending to be civil engineers, whereas they have not been given trainings of civil engineering. But then the unsuspecting public, they patronize them. Why? Because they are cheap.
Every design is based on assumption. But for the soil that God has provided, they have different capacity. So when we do a soil test, we get the actual strength that soil can withstand with some level of safety.
Speakers advocated favorable policies from the federal government in order to address the challenges in the sector.
The incidence of structural collapse is reduced, structural engineering is done properly, and above all, structural engineers are well remunerated.
We will start to talk to everybody, because without structural engineers, there is no nation.
This, they say, will pave way for patronage, adequate remuneration, and access to funds for development. The Nigerian Institution of Structural Engineers was founded in Lagos in 1967 for professional training of structural engineers. In Lagos, Awal Yusuf Jibo, NTA News.
More than 40 contractors handling the Lagos State Housing Project at Egon and Igondo in Alemosh local government area are to appear before a panel of inquiry at the Lagos State House of Assembly. This is due to the non-compliance with the building specification and standards approved by the Lagos State government. Details in this report.
The contractors who were awarded specified units of flats, sewage construction and road works at the Lagos Homes Project in Igondo, according to the Chairman, Committee on Housing, Lagos State House of Assembly, Honorable Onlariwaju Layode, are to appear before the House to explain why the projects have failed to meet the required standards of specification and the 12-month deadline of completion, and most importantly, deceiving the public with outward finishing when the interiors are yet to be completed. The committee later proceeded to the Egon Igondo low-cost housing scheme that has been under construction for over 5 years. After critical examination of the ongoing project, the committee lamented poor handling of the project.
The system has made the funds available, but the contractors are not responding the way, the government is expecting.
We are going to call the concerned quarters that awarded the contract to them and the payment area like the Ministry of Finance and Budget also, so they'll be able to bring their files to us.
Some of the contractors on site attributed the shortfalls to lack of adequate funding.
Because each contractor has their own problems.
We are expecting the second payment.
Representatives of the Ministry of Works, New Towns Development Authority, and the Ministry of Finance and Budget are also to be part of the investigation. In Lagos, Dotun Ogunyemi, NTA News.
These are the top stories from the Lagos Network Center at this hour. Nationwide News continues now with Ogechi in Abuja.
Thank you, Vera. Moving on now. The federal government has assured Enugu Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture maximum support towards a successful hosting of the 2016 annual Enugu International Trade Fair for the promotion of made in Nigeria goods. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday has details.
Believe that the Minister of Science and Technology, Obonaya Onu, said his ministry is supporting the fair in order to encourage Nigerians to patronize Nigerian products. He said that all the parastatals under his ministry will equally participate to enhance collaboration and networking for impactful technological growth and rapid industrialization for the nation. We have a number of prototypes and even pilot plants which the chamber should be able to take advantage of by helping to mass produce or commercialize those products. The leader of the delegation, Udozie Ume, said their focus is in line with the economic diversification of the federal government.
The fair has also been packaged to provide elixir to deepen the promotion of other critical sectors of our economy, such as solid minerals and tourism, to boost gross domestic product and indeed foreign exchange earnings.
President Muhammadu Buhari is expected to declare the fair open on the 25th of March 2016. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
The rapid population growth witnessed over the years in the satellite towns and the Federal Capital Territory has put pressure on existing infrastructure, and with contractors dating back to 2007, the Minister of the FCT, Mohammed Musa Bello, has decried the lack of progress made in the development of the towns. He was speaking during the budget defense before the House Committee on FCT. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunleye reports.
Projects of concern are provision of engineering infrastructure to Kubwa districts 4 and 5, Karshi Districts 1 and 2, and provision of primary water supply scheme to Karshi satellite town. In a period of almost 10 years, work in all 3 projects is yet to be concluded, with inadequate funding identified as the major challenge. The allocation for the projects in 2016 is 2 billion naira.
There is a need to just identify 1 or 2 projects and just complete that project this year. And then, of course, as funds come about, to be able to look at the other projects.
The chairman of the committee, Zephaniah Gizalo, expects a more productive collaboration with the present administration.
The satellite town are the main brain boss of IFCT. In last 2015, there was no budget provision for satellite town. But having meeting with the FCT minister, he has assured us that in the statutory budget of the FCT is going to improve.
Work in all 3 projects is expected to be complete within 2 years. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adingloi, NTA News.
More on Made in Nigeria products. The wife of the president, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has encouraged Nigerians to always patronize Made in Nigeria products to enhance the development of the nation's economy. Mrs. Buhari said this at the commissioning of the Arisco Food Company, a leading tomato paste producer. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabiru has the details of that report.
In the quest towards becoming an industrialized nation, as well as discouraging the importation of tomato paste into the country, the wife of the president has commissioned the first indigenous tomato paste factory in Nigeria, which has the capacity of producing 45,000 metric tons of tomato paste per annum. Mrs. Buhari has called on local farmers to increase production for constant supply of the fresh tomato to the industry for a better society.
Let me at this point call on our manufacturing companies, particularly those involved in the production of consumable products, to emulate Arisco by manufacturing products using locally available raw materials.
The president of the company, who conducted the wife of the president round to the various sections of the plant, said creating jobs to the teeming youth of Nigeria is his priority.
We are here to witness the groundbreaking technology which will save our country and farmers over 75% of fresh tomato waste. We will eat better, fresher and healthier tomato paste and foreign exchange to the country.
The representatives of the Ministries of Health, Trade and Investment and other speakers acknowledged the government effort towards reinvigorating of the agricultural sector of the economy. The wife of the president later paid a visit to Mama Bisi Oshimbajo, the mother of the vice president Yemi Oshimbajo, at her Obani Koros residence in Lagos, as she clocked 83 years recently. In Lagos, Aliyu Kabir, NTA News.
You're still watching NTA Nationwide. It's now to join Kaduna, where United States of America has pledged continued support to Nigeria in the fight against terrorism. Just as Minister of Agriculture Audu flags off drilling of tube wells for all year-round farming in Kano State. This and more from our Kaduna Network Center, as Amin takes us through.
Thank you, Ogechi, and good afternoon. The Independent National Electoral Commission in Kaduna State says it has concluded arrangements for the successful conduct of Rerun election in Lere West constituency of the state tomorrow. The resident Electoral Commissioner, Alhaji Abdullahi Adum Kaugama, stated this in an interview with the NTA News. Ahmed Umar Kudan reports.
The Rerun election followed the Court of Appeal judgment, which nullified the election of Muhammad Kabir Ibrahim of APC on the ground of presentation of forged primary school certificate. Dr. Mato Dogara of PDP challenged the victory of the APC candidate before the court. The resident Electoral Commissioner Abdullahi Adamu Kaugama said the Rerun election would take place in 5 wards and 166 polling units in Lere West constituency.
And materials are moving from the local government headquarters down to the RA. That is the ward level, where from there they will move to the respective polling stations where the elections are going to be conducted.
He said 4 political parties are participating. They include APC, ACPN, PDM, and PDP. And the Commission has recruited 498 ad hoc staff for the Rerun election. The Nigeria Police and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps have given the assurance of adequate security during the Rerun election.
And I assure that we are going to conduct a free and a fair election. We will not allow anybody to disturb the elections. Make sure that the election is hitch-free in that area. And to do that, we have tried to ensure that there is no violence in that area before, during, and after election by the deployment of adequate personnel.
Some observers are expected to monitor the exercise. In Kaduna, Ahmad Umar Kudan, NTA News.
The United States of America has pledged continued support to Nigeria in its fight against insurgency. The United States Ambassador to Nigeria, James Entwistle, stated this during the inauguration of training of troops of 145 Battalion at the Nigerian Army School of Infantry, Jaji, Kaduna State. Garba Muhammad Natala completes this report.
Speaking at the inauguration of the special training of soldiers selected from various units of the Nigerian Army, the United States Ambassador to Nigeria, James Entwistle, emphasized the need for other nations to join Nigeria in the fight against terrorism, particularly at the northeastern part of the country. The U.S. ambassador also noted that Nigeria-U.S. partnership extends beyond mutual gains of the two countries.
Nigeria is on the front line against terrorism and is showing the region, Africa, and the entire world that its efforts are working and that they need the continued cooperation and support from the international community.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Abayomi Gabriel Oluni Sashakin, observed that through the strategic partnership, the Nigerian armed forces stand a chance to end insurgency in the country.
This strategic partnership is born out of our shared commitment to counter-terrorism and violent extremism in the world.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, however, urged the officers and men to utilize the training to improve on their skills and adhere strictly to the rules of engagement.
We remain committed towards strict observance of human rights and international humanitarian laws.
About 800 personnel are participating in the training.
The bilateral relationship between the United States and Nigeria has been growing from strength to strength, and the expectation is that by soliciting the assistance of the United States will further enhance the capacity of the Nigerian armed forces in combating terrorism.
In a related development, the Chief of Army Staff also commissioned some completed projects, including 10 blocks of flats and a lecture hall. In Kaduna, Garba Muhammad Natala, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, has urged cadets undergoing training at the Nigerian Defense Academy to remain focused and committed in their cause. The Army Chief said this during the inauguration of the expanded and remodeled facilities for obstacles course at the NDA. Mohamed Lawal Baba reports.
Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, while inaugurating the obstacle crossing facilities, urged the cadets to absorb the tactics, techniques, and maneuvers associated with the training.
This is what is expected of you at the end of your commissioning into the various arms of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Don't forget what you've learned here must be applied in the field.
The Army Chief witnessed the demonstration of the obstacle course training by the cadets. Lieutenant General Buratai tasked the leadership of the NDA to maintain the standard of the academy. In Kaduna, Muhammad Lawal Baba, NTA News.
Away from the military, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Audu Obe, has launched the drilling of 1,000 tube wells embarked upon by Kano State government. Abdullahi Mustafa reports that the tube wells being sunk in various parts of the state is to encourage all year-round farming.
Since inception, the Buhari administration made it clear that agriculture is a sector that will be given priority as it plans to diversify the nation's economy. It is also aimed to create millions of jobs, thereby reducing the number of unemployed youth in the country. Kano State government also tore along the policy as it makes agriculture its top priority through intervention programs and making the sector an all-year-round business. The latest of this is tagged Drive Away Dry Season, under which 1,000 tube wells are to be drilled in 24 local government areas. The program, which aims at increasing the capacity of farmers in the commercial production of wheat and rice, was launched by the Minister of Agriculture of Buhari. The minister noted that the political will of the state government and the commitment he sees on the side of the farmers, the agricultural revolution being championed by the Buhari administration, has commenced from Kano State. Mr. Obe assured that the federal government will supply farmers with harvesting tractors at subsidized rates as part of efforts to fast-track mechanization.
They are like lawn mowers. They will cut the wheat and you will thresh it in a machine straight into the bag. So all the labor of beating it on the floor and breaking your back will stop.
Governor Abdullah Umar Ganduja says Kano State has 48,600 hectares of irrigable land, which his administration is willing to fully utilize towards facilitating increased output. He informed the minister that 5,000 irrigation pumps have already been distributed free to farmers as part of the initiative. Some of the enthused farmers thanked both the federal and Kano State governments for the intervention and pledged to fully utilize the tube wells. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
And that does it. Back to Ogechi for more on Nationwide.
Well, thank you, Amin. Yobe State Governor Ibrahim Gaidam swears in newly appointed local government caretaker committee chairman for the 17 councils in the state. During the ceremony, which was held in Government House, Damaturu, Governor Gaidam charged the chairman to explore ways and means of addressing the challenges of the dwindling revenue generation to get additional funds to execute projects. Mustafa Yusuf Musa has that report.
The 17 local government caretaker management committee were appointed following the expiration of the tenure of the elected chairman in December 2015. The chairman, who was to serve for the period of 6 months before elections are conducted, took the oath of office and allegiance of duty before Governor Ibrahim Gaidam and hundreds of government officials, APC stakeholders, as well as well-wishers. Speaking during the event, Governor Ibrahim Gaidam said the task before the newly appointed chairman is enormous and challenging in view of the strategic importance of the roles of local government in good governance and effective service delivery at the grassroots. He said government will closely monitor the activities of the chairman and will not hesitate to remove or hand over to the appropriate authority any chairman who commit gross misconduct or violate public trust.
Let me draw the attention of the newly appointed local government management committee chairman that they are taking over the affairs of the respective local governments at a time of dwindling resources as a consequence of fall in the revenue of governments at all levels. One of the biggest challenges before them is that the economic situation in the country is in bad shape, and that USA and local governments are equally affected.
Governor Gaidam reminded the local government chairman to accord priority attention to deserving areas only and directed the chairman to give required support to the ongoing salary verification exercise and ensure that they fully implement the approved policies arising from the report of the exercise. The governor equally charged the chairman to closely monitor their employees to ensure punctuality, adding that chairman will be held responsible for absenteeism and the dereliction of duty by staff working under their councils. Governor Ibrahim Gaidam noted that his administration will continue to count on the support and cooperation of the chairman and people of the state in the implementation of policies and programs of government so that the collective dream of transforming Yobe State to the path of economic growth and development could be realized. In Damaturu, Mustafa Yusuf Musa, NTA News.
How to sort divine intervention for good governance in Abia State was the highlight of the Interdenominational Thanksgiving service for the victory of Governor Okezie Ikpeazu of the Supreme Court in Umuahia. Uchechukwu John has that report.
Dr. Okezie Ikpeazu, in his speech, described his Supreme Court victory as a triumph for power, unity, justice, and stability in the Abia Charter of Equity that has brought to an end the politics of exclusion in the state.
The cooperation you've given to us the past 8 months. As I speak today, we are on 55 active roads, and all of them are progressing to the glory of God. 6 uncommissioned roads ready to be commissioned in Aba, all to the glory of God. As I speak, we are providing electricity to communities that have never seen light. That is why I am confident to say for the first time, this is a common governor for the interest of the common people of this state.
In a homily, the President, Nigerian Eastern Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Pastor Basi Udo, said the verdict of the Supreme Court has brought an end to the captivity of the state. An intercessory prayer was also offered for peaceful coexistence of the nation, judiciary, legislature, and grace for Okeze's cabinet members, while Reverend Umar Opai led a special prayer for the rededication of Abia State to be prosperous in terms of development. In Umahia, Uchechukwu Onwe, NTA News.
Still staying with politicians, governorship candidate of the Accord Party during the 2015 election in Akwa Ibom State, Bishop Samuel Akpan, led some political parties to declare total support for the anti-corruption war, another program of the President Muhammadu Buhari. They say Nigeria needs such a leader in times like this, saying they joined the grand reception of St. Athanasius Okon, President of Buhari Friends Organization Network on Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, to push up their submission. Olayinka Ojo reports.
It was a go with people from all walks of life. Representing 16 political parties declared support for President Buhari to fight corruption. Describing President Buhari as a man who means well for the country, Bishop Akpan urged Akwa Ibom people to support the present administration.
A good workman is entitled to his good wages. I don't know entitled. I know Buhari is a good rewarder.
Responding, President of Buhari Friends Organization Network thanked the Accord Party governorship candidate for joining force with the APC-led government for the development of the country.
For the first time, our major refineries have been made to work up to optimum capacity.
Highlight was the award presentation to the patron of Buhari Friends Organization Network, Balangawa, for President Buhari.
Nigeria is our country. We must remain here and celebrate it.
Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
This is NTA Nationwide. Let's take a short break now. The news returns in just a moment.
A bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words: run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
We must kill corruption before corruption will kill us.
If your leader is a kind of person that you look at him and say, if it is so and so, I'm okay. You can go to sleep, you close your 2 eyes and sleep. Then you know you are making progress.
Now you have a leader who will not condone corruption at all. He has zero tolerance of corruption. That alone makes some kind of fear for every Nigerian now.
The most critical index that we should look at is attitudinal change, moral education, respect for law and order. These two have disappeared from Nigeria. Now, this is what we must emphasize in the new Nigeria that we must leave behind.
Yes, this is the clarion call in the vanguard for a new Nigeria.
Nigeria will hello. For 2017, Nigeria will join body with every other country for this world to enter the battle what they call digital broadcasting. This digital broadcasting, it better pass those time when we say we go outside, go to Tonton TV. And not be that one, you go sit down for your comfort now. You go watch better. The TV go clear way. The people with this side go clear way. The sound man go come out well. The channel say go increase the local TV waiting for the Obodo Nigeria side go come out face where come clear well.
My people, Nigeria, they enter digital.
Nigeria's going digital.
Always live together as brothers and sisters. Though we speak different languages and celebrate different cultures, we were still one Nigeria. There was no bombing, there was no kidnapping, and our children were not cultists. Now, we suspect one another as there are spreads of cultism, bombing, and kidnapping. How long shall this go on? Terrorism is alien, kidnapping is criminal, cultism is barbaric. Nigeria is a blessed country. Support the Nigeria police and the fight against terrorism, kidnapping, and cultism. Always inform the police of any incident around you. Say something when you suspect something.
Remember, we all have a stake in building a crime-free Nigeria of our dream.
This message is from the Nigeria Police Force.
Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Nigeria will hello. For 2017, Nigeria will join body with every other country for this world to enter the battle what they call digital broadcasting. This digital broadcasting, it better pass those time when we say we go outside, go to Tonton TV. And not be that one, you go sit down for your comfort now. You go watch better. The TV go clear way. The people with this side go clear way. The sound man go come out well. The channel say go increase the local TV waiting for the Obodo Nigeria side go come out face where come clear well.
My people, Nigeria, they enter digital.
Nigeria's going digital.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words: run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The bulletin continues. The organized labor strike in Nasarawa State is taking another dimension as some groups of civil servants are disengaging from the industrial dispute in the interest of peace and development in the state. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that so far, over 10 different groups have done so.
Some civil servants in the state and local government areas are disembarking from the industrial dispute across the 3 senatorial districts of the state, owing to the huge economic loss and hardship the strike has yielded in the past 3 weeks. The latest group that staged peaceful protests to publicly declare their opting out of the lingering industrial action were local government staff of Karu, Akwanga and Lafia, who carried placards with different inscriptions such as "The country is recovering from economic downturn," "Governor Almakura is labor-friendly, please give him more chance to restructure civil service in the state," among others. The workers were at the palaces of paramount chiefs across the state, where they harmonized their positions and gave reasons why the strike should be called off for the interest of the masses, considering the level of socio-economic hardship the strike has through greater population in the state. Students were not left out as they embarked on road procession from Lafia City Square to the Labour House, carrying placards and chanting song of Labour, call off the strike and return to negotiation table with government for a collective future. Representative of the Labour, Comrade Gabriel Agbashi, appreciated the students and promised to consider their plight. In Lafia, I am Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Well, it's time now to join Ibadan, where Oyo police paraded crime suspects just as police build peace process between herdsmen and farmers. More reports from our Ibadan Network Centers. Kemi takes us through.
Thank you, Ogechi. Good afternoon and welcome to Ibadan. 18 suspects have confessed their involvement in armed robbery and fraudulent offences to the Oyo State Police Command. The State Police Commissioner Leye Oyebade paraded the suspects in Ibadan. Correspondent Oyeyinka Falaranmi reports.
12 out of the 18 suspects were arrested by the Highway Patrol and operatives of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad for armed robbery from different parts of the state. Among them was an alleged manufacturer of illegal arms for the operations of the suspects. Items recovered from them included locally made guns at different stages of fabrication, motorcycle, hijacked truck, machines, a car, and charms. Alleged 6 fraudsters, including a middle-aged woman, were also paraded after obtaining a sum of 550,000 naira from a victim.
We have enough evidence to prosecute them. We have gotten the confessional statements from them, and this syndicate will tell they are the one that we are going to use to send signal to others never to come and do that here.
Earlier, the Police Commissioner Leye Oyebade presented a award of scholarship of the Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase to 9 distinguished students for excellent performance during a parade to honor the IG during his official visit to Oyo State. In Ibadan, Oyeyinka Folaranmi, NTA News.
Past products of elementary, secondary and tertiary institutions have been advised to give back to their alma mater as government cannot provide all infrastructure. This was the central message when old students of Yejide Girls Grammar School met to honor their school and deserving students. Femi Afalabi reports.
At a time when the standard of education is falling due to dwindling infrastructure and learning aids in schools, this group of past products of Yejide Girls Grammar School in Ibadan thought it fit to equip their alma mater to enhance learning.
The importance of education to a nation, to a group, to a family, is to give training, to turn out well-polished human beings.
The school, founded in 1956, had produced eminent leaders such as the first female senior advocate of Nigeria, Mrs. Folake Sholanke, and others. Renovated blocks of classrooms and scholarship award to an outstanding student are some of the highlights of their assembly.
Education of female Nigeria is important. As we can see the yogas there, if they are not educated, they may not be able to be what they are today.
A lot of the students have benefited through the donation of the ICT lab, through the encouragement we give to teachers.
Goodwill messages at the event highlighted the need for more assistance to public schools by philanthropic organizations and individuals in the interest of school children. In Ibadan, Femi Afolabi, NTA News.
Well, so far from Ibadan, as residents of the Federal Capital Territory, we no longer experience a shortage of water during the dry season, as the Rerun Dam in Kaduna State now regularly replenishes the lower Oshuma Dam in the FCT with about 500,000 liters of raw water per minute. Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, said this during an inspection tour of the Gurara multi-purpose dam project in Kachia local government area of Kaduna State. Mitarik Ben has that report.
Gurara Dam project, which has reached completion, comprises of a water transfer station conveying water to the Lower Usman Dam in Buhari, Abuja, a 30-megawatt hydroelectric power plant, and an irrigation scheme for agricultural development. Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, said the project is of immense socio-economic benefit to Nigerians.
For the citizens of Abuja, this is a very critical project because during the dry season, the Lower Usman Dam, which is the primary source of water supply to the city of Abuja, go low, the water level drops. So the essence, and that was the primary reason for this project, was to augment the water in Lower Usman.
He said the power plant of the dam will transfer electricity directly to the city of Kaduna and environs.
The only outstanding issue, since it was meant to provide power to Kaduna's metropolis, there is a certain component substation that Kaduna State government was supposed to provide as part of its own counterpart contribution, which is not yet ready. So, but we're engaging with Kaduna State government.
The modern irrigation scheme of the dam currently serves 500 hectares of farmland, with a projection to cover 14,000 hectares of land in the future, providing employment for a vast majority of rural dwellers. From Gurara Dam in Kaduna State, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
It's now time to join Sokoto as Zamfara State embarks upon depopulation exercise of farms infected by bird flu. Let's join Zainab for details. Hello, Zainab.
Hello, Ogechi, and welcome. Kebbi State Police Command has paraded 30 suspects arrested for various offenses across the state. Nuretanku Wakili reports that the suspects include those arrested for cattle rustling, armed robbery, kidnapping, and homicide, amongst others.
Parading the suspect, the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of the Nten Sokoto, Alhaji Tambari Abu Muhammad, who is on a visit to the Kebbi State Command, said most of the suspects were arrested in Bena axis of Zulu Emirate, notorious for cattle rustling and kidnapping. Items recovered from the suspects include one AK-47 rifle, many locally made rifles, 27 motorcycles, as well as 1,000 cattle, among others.
We got a report which we shared with the Commissioner of Police, and he detailed his man. He asked me to support him, and we supported him with our anti-kidnapping team, and they went to Bena. You can see the result is recovery.
The Assistant Inspector General of Police commended the officers for their commitment and urged for support from various stakeholders. Addressing the officers and men of the command, the AG said peace is central to development and urged them to key into the federal government's fight against corruption and terrorism for a better Nigeria. Earlier, the Kebbi State Police Commissioner, Mr. Jibrin Yakubu, highlighted some of the challenges of the command, to include absence of required logistics to support their operations. During the visit, the Assistant Inspector General of Police presented checks of 500,000 naira each to the next of kin of deceased police officers from the police insurance scheme and interacted with the members of the Police Community Relations Committee. In Birnin Kebbi, Nuretanku Wakili, NTA News.
A farm in Karanamuda, Zamfara State has been depopulated due to the outbreak of avian influenza. Mohammed Nasir has the report.
The chicken were reported to have been infected by the disease on the 9th of this month when the management of the farm noted the unusual death of the layers. They reported the appropriate authority with a view to curtailing the spread of the disease. When NTA News visited the farm, it discovered that about 5,485 chickens have already been killed by the virus. Dr. Omar Lawal of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Dex Officer Abia Influenza Zamfara State, Dr. Ibrahim Shehu Bala, confirmed the incident, saying the samples collected and analyzed are positive. The doctors confirmed that 12,515 birds were destroyed with 285 crates of eggs. Meanwhile, the management of the affected farm has been barred from the use of the farm for 3 months. Owner of the farm, Alhaji Ali Abbas, says it is an act of God. He thanked the officials for the prompt action. This farm is the 5th affected by the disease since the resurgence of avian influenza. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasir, NTA News.
And as from here, it's back to Ogechi. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Zainab. The federal government says Nigeria will be self-sufficient in rice production by 2018. Minister of State Agriculture, Senator Heineken Lobobiri, gave the assurance at the launch of Rice Outgrower Scheme in Jigawa State. Salisu Aminu reports. We were sorry for the loss of audio in that report. And now a sports update. 2015-2016 season of the Nigerian Professional Football League set to kick off weekend as the International Association of Athletics Federation threatens to ban Kenya. Ayodeji Makinde tells us more on sports update.
The 2017 Africa Cup of Nations Day 3 qualifying match between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Pharaohs of Egypt will now take place at the Ahmadu Bello Stadium, Kaduna, on Friday, March the 25th. This decision followed a mail sent to the Nigeria Football Federation by the Confederation of African Football midweek that Nigeria should endeavor to make room for a minimum of 2 full days of rest between the two matches. NFF General Secretary Mohammed Sanusi says March 26th will serve as the day for the two teams to travel, while March the 27th and 28th will be rest days.